Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I am Jim Coppinger, the technical principal here at ZenTek Consultants, and I welcome you guys to our ongoing From Chaos to Control series, where we talk to you about the best ways to use construction technologies to make your project life a little bit easier. And the topic I want to get into today is how do I improve communication between stakeholders for my construction jobs? And it seems like a simple question, but it's really probably one of the most important things that you can do to control your construction jobs. So let's kind of put it in perspective what we're talking about here. Based on a 2020 survey, right, that was published, over 80% of all communications regarding a construction project is handled by basic email, right? Simple email, right? Using your Outlook or your Google, and you're sending emails to people and you're hoping they reply and you're hoping they get them. 80% of what you do is just handled that way. And here's the problem that you run into is that a lot of times, people don't read the email, they didn't get the email, it wound up in their junk folder, it got deleted, it went to spam, or it just disappeared into the ether, as it tends to do sometimes with modern tech. And yes, Microsoft and Google, I'm looking at you guys, do better, because it happens all the time, right? Emails just never arrive. People just never see them. And the fact is that, miscommunication between, designers and contractors and subs and owners, it causes delays, it causes misunderstandings, and most importantly, it causes rework, right? Having to rip stuff out and redo it at a cost. And here's another really two statistics that I found particularly useful when I was kind of doing my research for this conversation here today. Every single year, okay, the construction industry in the United States alone loses $177 billion with a B, $177 billion every year to rework that is caused by poor communication. Okay. And the other thing that really caught my attention, right, is that 55%, right, of all rework that has to be done in a construction project is not due to design or installation error. It's due to miscommunication based on emails. And that is a huge problem. It's something that we can't ignore. And if you want to do better and be more profitable and make your jobs go a lot easier, you need to address that communication gap. You have to really look at how do we get away from dealing with the base Outlook email, right? And really get into something a little bit more intelligent. And that's where we start to get into where what I recommend for almost all of my clients is getting involved in some type of a construction project management system, whether it be Procore or TopBuilder or Autodesk Construction Cloud. It doesn't matter, right? There's hundreds of them out there that you can choose from, right? But the key with these is that they give you the ability to take and centralize all of the email, all the communication that you're going through, and you get to take it to a specific project, host it in a central location where everybody involved in the job can communicate, work together, right? And reply in this one centralized location. Instead of you sending out an email to 30 different, users and, a few subs and some contractors and some vendors and the owner and the architect, and hope that it gets to all those 30 different locations and hope that all 30 of them see it. And if you're lucky, 4 of them reply to it and 2 of them do something with it, right? Instead, if everybody is using one central location to store all of your emails, and it goes beyond just base emails, right? Even though that, like I said, that's the primary thing we still use today, most of us. But we can get involved in tracking RFIs and transmittals and inspections and incident reports and meeting requests and daily logs and a million other things that go into a construction job. And we can centralize these, right? So that we can go in, and even if we're going to send an email, what we want to do is try and get ourselves into the habit of going into the project management system, sending an email from inside the PM system, because that way there's a permanent record of it that's logged right under the project. So you know that it regards the project, it shows you who it was sent to. And when people reply back to those, all of their replies are not going to your Outlook mailbox. You'll get a copy of them there, right? But it's also going into the actual project folder. So there is this link, right? This chain of events of what happened, who said what, who saw it, who didn't reply, who didn't respond. That's easy to track, and everybody can see what's going on, right? Instead of everybody, you're hopefully finding, in their mailbox, right? All the things that come in at us every day. And look, I'll be real honest. I look over here on my other screen right now where I've got my Outlook open. I'm looking at the items that have been deleted just in the last 30 days. I have over 6,000 emails that were deleted without me reading them. And again, as you know, I own and I run a big tech company here, and I get emails all the time, and a lot of them are just sales and marketing, and I have things set to auto delete and so on. But once in a while, things do get caught in my spam, in my junk, in my own personal filters that I've built. And that's what happens. And that's where communication breaks down, and that's where immense costs come back to bite us in the butt. All right, and that's really a big focus. And the easiest answer that I have for everybody is to shift yourselves to using a project management system. And as part of this, from Chaos to Control series, if you guys look down below in the links underneath the video here, you're going to see a link to the next section, which is kind of a practical demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to use Procore. And again, the concept will work in any PM system, but I'm going to use Procore. We're going to talk about simplifying email and notification processes, right? And to show you practically how this works in a real world day-to-day operational situation, right? So that's the thing to focus on. We got to get away from the isolated emails. We've got to get out of the concept of hoping that, Microsoft didn't delete them out into the ether, right? And really be able to provide accountability, tracking, and coordination from one central location without people having to do a lot of work and effort. All right? There's your tip for today, guys. I'll catch you next time.